So when you're talking about a campaign in a black and white sense, what you're talking about is Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who are my sphere. I know them from church,
Yeah.
and they live in Arrowhead. And we've chatted about real estate in the past, and they said we would love to move to Greyhawk. Okay, so boom, they live in Arrowhead. So that is a campaign for them to see what their values are in Arrowhead. Say you've been to their house, or you have an idea of how big their house is, or how many bedrooms it has, or well, you could look online and figure that out. So you start up a campaign for them to watch and monitor Arrowhead for the value to sell their home. Then you can set up a second campaign for them in Greyhawk so that they can watch and monitor what's available in Greyhawk. And now that's one client with two campaigns, but those campaigns, emails, texts, however they're getting them, will keep them in your website. You're not emailing them, from MLS so that when they click on it, they're going into the MLS or they're going into Flex.
Right.
And they're not setting it up for a big national website because that's just going to take them right back there. These are ones you specifically set up for them. And every time they click and move, they're staying in they're staying in your website. And that's where your website value comes in.
Yeah. So to talk about, I like the way you broke that down. So for a homeowner, and that includes past clients, but for a new agent, they don't have past clients.
Right.
But they know homeowners. They have friends, family, work cohort, whatever. They know homeowners. And every single homeowner is a candidate for this homeowner campaign that you're talking about.
Yep.
And generally, that's a search around their house. We teach it by polygon. You draw around their house out to the cross streets. And then that sends, depending on the MLS, that can send active sold pending listings. And in some MLSs can send coming soons.
Mm-hmm.
So in certain MLSs, you still can't send coming soons because I won't talk about why, you just can't. But
yeah, it's okay.
That goes out once a month. And from a CRM tradition, that's like a drip campaign, like sending a newsletter or sending recipes of the month or sending other types of content. We're using the CRM automation, that strategy, which works. We're just using listings as the content instead of a newsletter.
Right. Because nobody cares how to bake pumpkin cookies from
No, they don't. If they want to Google it. If they want to know what's going on this weekend in their city, they Google it. They don't wait, oh, my realtor sends that to me, let me go find it. They're not doing that, right?
Maybe next year they'll send me something on plumbing. Ooh.
Maybe. So that's one piece. As part of those campaigns, though, we turn on what we call instant updates for new and sold listings. Because we know that this monthly email is great because it shows what's going on in the neighborhood. But then there's and I ask realtors, real estate agents, when I talk to them about their marketing, what are they doing to market? And then they'll tell me I'm doing this or that or this or that. And one of the things I love to ask is, well, and I always ask them, pick out somebody in your database that you sold something to. And they'll, okay, Jim and Mary, right? And I make them give me first names. And then I'll say, okay, so imagine Jim and Mary tomorrow wake up and they see a new listing sign across the street from their house that wasn't there today. Got it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a thought process that Jim and Mary go through. And
ooh, I wonder what they're selling their house for.
Right? They got nosy neighbor syndrome. They want to see what it looks like inside, how many bedrooms, how many baths, etc. Okay. Well, our system sends them that listing automatically as it hits the MLS.
Yep.
So that now Jim and Mary, when they leave and they see that listing sign, well, Susan, your system that you have from us would have already emailed and or texted them that listing. So they don't have to go anywhere to look. And you, as the agent that helped them buy that house that they trust and have a relationship with, are sending it to them, have already sent it to them. So you're providing very high value information to them.
Yeah, and you're giving it to them instantly. So that house comes up on the market, it's a Sunday, and they're looking at it, they look at it and like, oh, I wonder what that is. And they get it on their phone, whether it's an email or a text. Of course, I
Yeah,
prefer text. And so they're talking with the neighbor who's, oh, did you see the house went on sale? Yeah, it's blah, 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 blah. It's 4 bedrooms, 300 square feet. Blah, 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 blah. How do you know that? My agent sent it to me.
yeah,
I hope my agent doesn't do that. Like I already have the info. It's a lazy Sunday morning and I got a text. I know everything. All
right,
right. And it's so cool because I was talking about it again. If someone's driving to work on Tuesday and they drive out of their neighborhood and see one, by the time they get to work and stop driving, they're already have a text with what the info is on the sign that they saw.
right.
So it's stocky in a good way. I mean, in a really, really good way. And it's from you. It's
Yeah,
from you. It's like, oh, Susan already knows that the one down around the corner went up for sale and is already giving me everything I'm asking in my head.
yeah. So we have that homeowner campaign, and so that's the monthly CRM drip campaign that we talk about in at
Yep.
iPound Agent. Then there's the instant updates, which take care of spontaneity in the market.
Yep. Yep.
And mostly it's they just want to know, they're curious.
Yep.
But if life happens to them, often that triggers this listing across the street triggers Jim, Mary, or Bob and Mary. They've been meaning to call the realtor or look like do something. Now they're triggered to do something, or they know somebody who wants to live in the neighborhood, and you're the one sending them that. Now you're top of mind in that spontaneous moment of that new listing going on the market. And you have a much, much better chance of at least getting a phone call from that customer to talk to them about their real estate needs versus they go online to look at that listing at the big Z,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a realtor on on the big Z waiting
Paying
for
for
them
that.
saying, hey, I'm an expert on this house, call me, right?
So,
Or talk to me. And that it's a way for somebody to slip away innocently.
and they can forward that text or forward that email to somebody,
Exactly.
and that person will come to your website. So it's
Correct.
like a coworker or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I would love to live there, and they just forward that on. And again, that's still in your keeping people into your website and bringing new people into your website. My
Exactly.
realtor sent me this.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they're like, oh, and then Susan's in front of that new person who's thinking of maybe purchasing there.
Yeah. So that's the homeowner side.
Yep.
Then you talked about, well, that very same homeowner wants to live in Greyhawk or this in another subdivision.
Or they're not a homeowner yet, maybe
Well, it
they're.
could be buyers, like just a buyer that you're cultivating. Instead of
Yep.
using
Yep.
the MLS, you're doing the same strategy of you're sending them a once a week email with their criteria, a search with their criteria and or filters, and they're looking at that, and we can turn on instant updates for new houses for them too.
Mm-hmm.
So for Bob and Mary who want to live in this other subdivision, they've got their campaign going for their neighborhood. But yeah, you're also cultivating them as a buyer
Right.
in another neighborhood.
Right.
So now they're getting a second campaign from you, as you had mentioned, for looking at houses in a subdivision, across the city. And agents can do this strategy in the MLS.
Yes,
It's not like we're
absolutely.
talking about something revolutionary
Nope.
concepts wise, revolutionary concepts here, right? We're not talking about that. What we're doing is bringing it into the agent's website, which is where most agents want their people,
And
and
pushing it out
using
further.
their website as this functioning tool in their business
Yep.
that, and that you're right, they can email it out, but their website also gets found in Google. They can take stuff from their website, put it into Facebook or YouTube or
Right.
Instagram. They can do other marketing that they can't do in the MLS, period. They can't.
Right. And then once
So,
you've got that, that's when you want to start messing around with some blogs and because you have people who are going to your website because of your campaigns, whether it
right.
be home buyer or home seller.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot more possible for an agent who's working with us. And I'll say this, I want to qualify again one more thing. It's not like I found agent came up with this whole strategy of using your website with your clients. We didn't come up with that. Okay. Now, we came up with it at the price we charge. Because
Yes.
there are much more expensive systems on the market that have similar strategies that have, quite frankly, been around longer than we have,
Yep.
but they're way more expensive. And in reports that I've gotten from a lot of customers who used to use them and now work with us, we're a heck of a lot easier to use. So ease of use, and our price point is affordable for a lot more agents than some of the bigger older products that have been around, and not even necessarily older products, but there's products out there that are 250, 300, 400, $500 a month
Hmm.
just for the basic system, and we're not that at all. We're a fraction of that price. So we're very much trying to work with agents who are, I would say, middle market agents that really want to use their website with their business, understand how valuable it is to send listings to past clients in their neighborhood, be in front of them with instant updates. And if they want to do some blogging and put out content, they can. And with Chat GPT and AI, it's so easy to make content now for your website. It's there's almost no excuse not.
There is a lot of conversation, and it's been around for a while. There's culture. There's the culture of a company. There's Facebook's company culture or Apple's company culture, but there's brokerages have a culture, and now teams have a culture. Teams, real estate teams.
Yeah,
Well, a team could be two people, and now I don't work in a team. I'm just me, but I have a culture. You could say it's a personality, but it's the Susan Herbert culture, or it's the I can't think of a name of a team off the top of my head, and I don't want to point anybody out, but so it's a team, say within a bigger brokerage. They want to foster a culture. You can market that culture, display that culture, teach people what your culture is. Um, really embody that culture in your website for the purpose of adding people to your team and the purpose of showing the public who you really are, whether it's your team or you as an individual. There's it's so hard to make yourself stand out or your team stand out, whichever direction you're going. And because people get lost in the big places. How many of us can afford billboards and this and that? You can't. And then you're like, well, why am I going to get a website? Well, this is why. This is why. Because if your marketing pieces, your social medias turn people to your website, your stationary, but your email stationary turns people to your websites, your campaigns you keep pushing people to your website that stands for your culture, stands for what you stand for as a team or as an individual. That's what's going to stand out.
right.
That's and that matters. Being authentic and who you are and what you believe in and what you want people to see, that matters rather than being a canned, you know, blah, 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 blah. You stand out from the noise. There's so much
Correct.
noise
Yeah.
out there.
I imagine content that's just canned just sounds blah, 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 blah.
It's blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
we're not that, right? I mean, you're a cool team, you're a cool agent, you foster, maybe you're really into giving back. Maybe your team, is super into feeding the homeless, and make that on your website. Make people see that. Let people see that in your website.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to convey, or not the whole thing, but part of it. This is who we are.
Right.
We give back. We want to give back to you. We want to give our services to you, and we give back here. Just so many ways to approach it.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, kind of a pause at the moment.
That's all right.
Um,
Hang on a second.
did we cover that good enough? The transition up into what we're doing now?
I think so. Um,
I mean, I said it more succinctly in my email that I wrote to Patrick.
yeah, and I highlighted, like, circled things, and you went through we handled the past. Um, and I want to. Oh, so the one thing you said, just a phrase you said, was deepen the loyalty between you and your past client, or you and your clients, not past clients, you and your customers and clients. Deepen the loyalty, create and deepen that loyalty. We want to, but at the loyalty thing, I mean, it's every day, somebody who who's worked with you in the past, their nephew gets their license, or their boss's wife's sister gets their life. The loyalty thing, it's tough. It's tough. We lose clients and customers all the time. And everything out there says stay in front of people, stay in front of people. Well, we're going to clone myself 12 times and I'll try to stay in front of people. So every way that you can, you stay in front of them. And those instant campaigns, that's the way to do it. Because
Yeah.
you can get your MLS to do dailies if you want. I don't know, it'll do it like once a day. It'll update you what's going on in Greyhawk or Arrowhead or whatever. But if they're instantly getting something in that Paragon or whatever criteria you pick for them, that's cool.
Right. And it to me, like you're talking about loyalty, you know, I think as humans, even the tough humans out there, it's nice to know that we've been thought of by somebody else. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, the one of the things that I like about our system is we're with these homeowner campaigns, and again, our system, not our system, but where my brain goes with it in this loyalty conversation is we're sending these personalized campaigns to a customer, to a homeowner. It's not some generic market update for the
Right.
Phoenix market or the real estate market in general. Like
Right.
when I talk to agents, I'll often ask them, well, what do you send your past clients? Well, I send them market updates. Well, what does that mean, market update? Well, I send them the market, the monthly market economic report for the Phoenix housing market. I'm like, so if I live in this little subdivision in a corner of Tempe, Arizona, how relevant do you think that whole market report is
Right.
to me and my neighborhood? And
Right.
I'd say 99 out of 100 times, well, not really that relevant. And I said, and it's got numbers and charts and analytics on it and all kinds of stuff that look, I live in this little part of Tempe. Stuff in the Northwest Valley has no bearing on my
Correct.
house whatsoever. So when you send somebody, hey, here's what's going on in your neighborhood, now that can help reinforce this loyalty of, oh, they really took the time to set this up for me.
Yep.
And it's coming from their website,
Yep.
not the MLS or some other thing. It's coming from them and their website, and I did business with them and I trust them.
Right.
So yeah, it develops loyalty. Another thing that we have a feature in our system where an agent can get a copy, like a CC of every listing that gets sent to their clients, to their
Yep. Yep.
customers, right? I think it can be a little overwhelming, but from the perspective of, you know, and let's just pretend, Susan, that you're one of my past customers, and I'm sending you these listings for your neighborhood. And someday I call you and I say, hey, Susan, I noticed the new house in your neighborhood that went on the market. I just wanted you to know about it. And let me know if you have any questions. And then that's it. That's all I say to you.
Yeah.
And it might just be a voicemail. Like probably you're screening your calls from your realtor because you don't really want to talk to your realtor because like there's that culture out there too,
That's normal. That's normal.
like we screen our calls and oh, Dale's calling and you send me the voicemail and I just leave a message. Hey, there's a new listing that come on the market down the street and I'm calling you, telling you about it. You've already seen the sign. You probably already got a text from me that or an email from me saying what it is, but I'm also letting you know, well, to me, that's a personal touch that tells you I'm thinking of you.
It's like it's a reason to make that warm phone call because one of the things that keeps people from making their calls, and I'm not talking about cold calls, I'm talking about, engaging with your sphere and your past
Yeah,
and all that, like keeping in contact with them. The reason I don't know what to say. I don't know what to ask them. I
yeah,
haven't talked to them in a year. What do I do? That's it. That's it. You sit there and you could say, I know you got that email from me, but I wanted to see what you thought about that price. Or, oh my goodness, that one is such a bargain. Like you can leave that on a voicemail and they're going to listen to it.
hmm
It's a connection. It's a
It's a
personal
connection,
connection.
right? And if it you mentioned, we agents lose deals or lose customers to other agents all the time.
Mhm.
Well, if this prevents one of those a year,
I know.
is that worth it?
Yep.
That's just one
Yep.
thing. If it can get you one referral and prevent one person from leaving a year, now
Yep.
that's two more deals, two more transactions, right? So I don't know. To me, it's a valuable touch point with a past client, another person, or it's somebody you met at an open house there. It's a nosy neighbor, and you offered them, "Hey, this is what I send all my past clients. I don't send them newsletters. I send them these homeowner updates for their neighborhood. I can
Right.
send you one too, and I'm not going to be putting you on a newsletter list. I promise."
Yeah.
And you don't. You keep your word and don't do it. It's astounding to me how many real estate agents stick me in their database and I get their newsletters now.
Yep. I get them
I
too.
I hate it. I didn't ask for that.
Yep.
And there we work together I provide websites to real estate agents. I know thousands of realtors and a lot of them think that I should go in their database and it just drives me nuts.
Well,
So
yeah, because you're in their database as a contact, and then all their contacts get that newsletter or that market update. Like it's just like okay, there's this list of 2,000 people, and then And
I
so
know
you're just one
I
of them.
know it's part of what real estate agents are trained to do,
Yes, it is.
but it to me it's sloppy. It's almost lazy because like I'm somebody who knows a lot of real estate agents and I don't need your recipe of the month every month, you
I
know?
know you
So
don't need it. You
what's
might need
that?
it.
What's that?
I said you might need some pumpkin bread. You don't know that.
I might need some. It is coming up into
It is.
the
Damn it.
Halloween and Thanksgiving holiday season, so you are correct. But yeah, it's a. I'd much rather them send me listings for my house.
Yes, exactly.
You know, send me something that's useful versus what, you know, so many other agents send me. And you're right, you're not standing out. You're just sending me the same noise that 100 other people are.
Yep,
It's pretty
exactly.
amazing what we get.
Yep, I love it.
We've done a lot of unsubscribing over the years.
Same,
So,
same.
all right. Well, do you think that's a wrap? Do you think we talked about it enough?
Yeah, I do. I think yeah, I do.